morning, everybody. Jim Hoffman here. I am pastor at St. John's United Methodist Church here in Midtown Kansas City, and it is time for our daily devotion. Actually, I'm a couple minutes late, so my apologies. But come and join me, if you would, please, for our devotion time. Let's take a moment to pause and center ourselves on God's presence in our lives today. Looking forward to seeing all of you. Thanks for being here. Those of you that are joining and those that you watch later on, don't forget, leave a quick comment and let me know that you were here. I would appreciate hearing from you. It's Cinco de Mayo Day, which just sounds like an opportunity for people to eat Mexican and have a margarita. Whatever floats your boat. As you find us on Facebook, leave a quick hello. Would love to hear from you. Thank you for doing that. Good morning, Linda. Great to see you this morning. Glad you are here. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Chris. Good morning to the two of you. Glad you are here as well. Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 through 8. Good morning, Debbie. Thanks for joining us today. Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 through 8. Hi, Susan. Good morning to you. I am so glad that you are here. Jack and Pat, good morning to the two of you. I see a note real quick from Messenger that says the two of you are watching. So glad you are here as well. Again, Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 17. We're going to read two verses, verses 7 through 8. Our opening prayer, here it is. O God, by your spoken word you created everything that is. By your incarnate word you redeemed us. By your comforting word you are with us still. Prepare us now to hear your word to us this day. Amen. Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 and 8. Blessed are those who trust in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. They shall be like a tree planted by water, sending out its roots by the stream. All right. Our devotion writer today is Esther Zeisset, and Esther is from Pennsylvania. Her focus verse actually comes from Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 3. In the NIV it reads, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. All right, here is Esther's devotion. She said, "The weather forecast sounded almost perfect, except for the morning fog. Optimistic that it would soon dissipate, my husband and I walked the quarter-mile trail to the lakeside with coffee in hand and binoculars around our necks. But stubborn, opaque fog shrouded the lake and dashed all hopes of our seeing any wildlife. I complained that our walk was a disappointing waste of time. Just then a mockingbird broke into song from the obscurity of the swirling fog. I listened to its serenade and to the distinctive honks of Canadian geese, to the splashes of fish jumping on the lake's surface. On our way back to the car, instead of watching for deer, we stopped to marvel at a maple tree's brilliant colors, at clusters of purple berries on the pokeweed, and at a squirrel's treetop antics." Metaphorical fog surrounds us at times. We don't know when it will lift, and our patience wears thin. But when life seems uncertain, it's good to consider God's sovereignty, to remind ourselves that nothing catches God off guard. So, while we await the lifting of the fog, we can choose to hush our impatient grumblings and look for traces of beauty. We can entrust our plans in the future to our loving God. So the thought for the day is, I can look for God's creative work even on foggy days. I think a lot of folks find themselves living in circumstances that aren't always necessarily clear. It's not like you are able to see exactly what's happening around you, or that you can see an actual end game to whatever circumstance you find yourself in, that there's some kind of foreseen ending. Some of us find ourselves kind of wandering around in a metaphorical fog. It could be a relationship that we're struggling to try to make sense of, maybe our partner or a family member that we just really struggle to communicate with, and we're just trying to figure out what to do with that. We could find ourselves in a financial fog as well. The way that things are kind of turbulent between the market and tariffs and different things. Prices of items that have been high for several years in a row, and it doesn't seem like there's much of any kind of relief that's in sight, and we can find ourselves focused on that and feeling like we're just kind of on tenuous grounds, that we don't really know what the future holds. There could be even a little bit of a physical fog for some of us. You might be dealing with a health concern or a mental, kind of state of being that really has you perplexed at the moment. You're looking for answers, and you're hoping that someone will be able to give them to you, but maybe they just haven't come yet. And so you kind of feel like you're wandering around, maybe in a circle, lost even. That's kind of the way the fog is. The fog is disorienting. Literal fog is disorienting. Figurative fog, the metaphorical fog, it's a time of being disoriented. And yet, there still is so much going on around us in the world that if only we could break free of some of our myopic view and begin to listen and look around at other things, we might be able to see that there is still goodness in the world around us as well. While we may not have answers to certain things, God's answers and presence are all around us. The goodness of God in creation. Boy, how often do we miss that? I understand, Esther's comment about, walking back to the car, complaining and being disappointed about the fact that, what they had gone to see with their binoculars didn't actually happen. But somehow she broke through some of that and was able to kind of listen and hear other things. She said, listening to the serenade of the mockingbird, the honks of the Canadian geese, the splashing fish in the lake, those kinds of things, noticing the brilliance of colors in nature and even the antics of squirrels. I think maybe in some ways we need to figure out how to widen our field of view, or maybe just tap into some of our other senses. It's not always about what we see, but sometimes it's about what we're experiencing within as we listen for the Spirit of God to speak, or sometimes what we hear with our ears. And so I want to encourage you to think about, if you find yourself kind of in this moment where you feel like you're in a little bit of a fog, metaphorical, spiritual, emotional, relational, whatever it is, maybe to kind of see if you can't look out the window of your home, your car, and try to notice one thing of beauty in the world around you. Maybe it's a grandchild's face. Maybe it is the face of your spouse. Maybe it's a flower on the side of the road. Maybe it is a deer hopping along the lanes or grazing in the meadows. Whatever it is, see if you can't take a moment to spot one thing of beauty and see if it doesn't begin to dissipate some of the fog. Let's take a moment, friends, to pause and pray. So, gracious God, we ask that you open up our senses to appreciate your blessings, even when circumstances disappoint us. Your beauty truly is everywhere around us. Help us to be thankful for it. Amen. Well, friends, thanks so much for joining me on this Monday. It is great to have all of you today, and I appreciate you being here. Want to remind you of a couple of things as we finish this Facebook moment, this live post. If you would like to share this on your own page, feel free to do so. Again, if you're someone who watches this later on, don't forget to leave a quick comment and say hello. When you pray, pray for one another. I am praying for you. I hope you'll pray for me as well. And then don't forget to come join us tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you all then. I hope you'll be back for our devotion time. Otherwise, friends, I am praying God's rich grace and peace be upon you for the rest of this Monday. Again, thanks for being here, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.